Hare Krishna. Can you hear my voice? Am I audible? Okay, let's start. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining today's session. We have been discussing from the 18th chapter of the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm sorry, yesterday I was traveling, so I had to cancel the session. I apologize for that. So today we will resume from where we left off, a very beautiful chapter, fully dedicated to prayers. I mean, those of you who might think that we just completed a very technical discussion between Rahuguna and Jadabharata, and then are we going to start Vedic cosmology, which is also going to be quite dry? So please do not worry. It is interspersed with these kind of beautiful prayers, which will kind of massage our hearing muscles, will give some kind of pleasure to our hearing muscles, the, and then keep enthusing us to hear more. So yeah, so we have been discussing about the topography of the Bhumandala, and within that specifically Jambudvipa, and how this Jambudvipa is divided into 9 varshas, and how Ganga flows through these various varshas, and all of that was described. And then subsequently, the prayers offered by the denizens of each of these varshas, it is described over 3 chapters. Not all 3 chapters completely are dedicated to prayers, but the Ilavrita Varsha prayers by Lord Shiva was described in the 17th chapter. 18th chapter is fully dedicated to describing prayers offered in 6 varshas, 6 of those 9. So, and then 2 more varshas will be in chapter number 19, prayers. So, which means across 3 chapters, you can say almost like 2 chapters are dedicated to the prayers, which is very beautiful. And currently, we have been discussing the prayers offered by Prahlad Maharaj, who is the uh, head citizen of the Harivarsha, and he offers prayers to Narasimhadev. That's what we have been discussing right now. So we will start with those prayers. I mean, we have covered some of the prayers. I'll do a quick recap of those prayers that we have seen already, and then we will start with new prayers by Prahlad Maharaj. Okay. So in Harivarsha, the Lord resides in the form of Narasimhadev. I shall explain the reason for his appearance later in the 7th canto. The great devotee Prahlad, the abode of qualities of a Mahapurusha, whose character purified the demons of his family, worships this pleasing form with uninterrupted pure bhakti, avyavadana ananya bhakti yogena, ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati, along with the inhabitants of this varsha, tad saha tad varsha purushaihi, and he chants this prayer. So we saw this prayer where Prahlad Maharaj is praying to remove the anarthas within the heart, which may become obstacle to his progressing on the path of bhakti. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya, Namastejas Tejase, Aviravir Bhava, Vajranaka Vajradamshtra, Karmashayan Randaya Randaya, Tamo Grasa Grasa, Om Swaha, Abhayam Abhayam Atmani Bhuishta, Om Shraum. So this is the prayer. So I offer my respects to the Supreme Lord Narasimha, Namastejas Tejase, who is the power amongst all powers. Avir Avir Bhava, please appear before me. Hmm? Vajranaka, Vajradamshtra, O Lord, who possesses thunderbolt like nails and thunderbolt like teeth. Uh, Vajranaka, Vajradamshtra, Karmashayan, Randaya, Randaya. Please burn um, uh, all these karma vasanas, the vasanas of material enjoyment. Please burn all these things up. Tamo grasa grasa, please destroy all the ignorance within my heart. Uh, and Atmani Bhuishta, and please appear in my mind, Abhayam Abhayam, so that it can become fearless. Like that. So we have discussed before that the worship of Narsimhadev in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is to assist our Vraja Bhakti and to remove obstacles from Vraja Bhakti. Okay. So generally, worship of any deity is when we, as our worshipable deity, is always with the consort. Like in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, you will see there is worship of Lakshmi Narasimha. There is worship of Lakshmi Narasimha. So that, just like we worship Radha Krishna, or someone else may worship Lakshmi Narayana, like that. But in our Sampradaya, we do not worship Lakshmi Narasimha. Okay. We worship Narasimha alone because for us, he is the deity. Not necessarily, he is also worshipped as a deity whom we take shelter of to remove the obstacles for our approaching Radha and Krishna and Vrindavan. Okay. That is why there is, in our Sampradaya, there is no worship of Lakshmi Narasimha. That is not there. It is not there in our Sampradaya. Generally. Not that we do not visit temples where Lakshmi Narayana is worshipped. We may visit those temples, but we don't install them and worship them because that is not in our Sampradaya and practice. Okay. So therefore we worship Narasimhadev alone primarily to assist our Vraja Bhakti. Okay. But this is not compulsory also. We may worship Krishna also for that. It is not compulsory that all Gaudiya Vaishnavas have to worship Narasimhadev only to remove the obstacles from their from the path of bhakti. It is not compulsory. It is not necessary. It is not a non-negotiable thing. But the worship of Narasimhadev in our Sampradaya is primarily the form of Narasimhadev alone without his consort. So, of course, now the question arises. I mean, I am anticipating some questions, so I am presenting it, upfront. Oh, but we did have what do you call? But does it mean in ISKCON no one can be a worshipper of Narasimhadev? Worshipper, when we say worshipper, we are talking about worshipper as we are worshipping Radha and Krishna, which means I am not attracted to the form of Radha Krishna. I am attracted only to the form of Narasimhadev. Can't I worship Narasimhadev? Yeah, we can. There is nothing wrong with it. There is nothing wrong with it. If our worshipable deity is not, no, I am not worshipping. I am not worshipping Narasimhadev to assist my Vraja Bhakti. Actually, my worshipable deity itself is Narasimhadev. Yes, I have attachment to Radha and Krishna, but I have great attachment to Narasimhadev. And when I am When I am meditating on the state of perfection, I can't imagine being with anyone else other than Narsingadev himself. Someone may fall within this category. I am sure you must have seen some devotees who are uh, attracted to the form of Narsingadev only, and not so much Radha and Krishna. Not that they don't like Radha and Krishna, but their object of affection is Narsingadev. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Okay, because the deity form is there installed in the temple. There are so many pastimes available of Narsingadev. So hearing these pastimes, one can develop attraction to the form of Narsingadev even within ISKCON. It is quite possible. So the only thing is that uh, the sampradaya may not be the most conducive to support that form of bhakti. Okay, because most of the uh, because the mantra that we chant engenders affection for Krishna, and the commentaries of the acharyas are naturally geared to engender affection towards Lord Krishna. So they may not get as much nourishment for their bhakti towards Narsingadev as much they might get support for developing their bhakti towards Radha and Krishna. That is the only problem. Whereas there may be other sampradayas where their exclusive worshipable deity is Narsimhadev, and there are many literatures which have been written by perfected devotees who are actually worshippers of Narsingadev. Just like in our sampradaya, we have the devotees, the acharyas who are all participants in Krishna Leela. We have like Rupa Manjari, Labanga Manjari, Rati Manjari, Raga Manjari, Vilasa Manjari, and Vinoda Manjari, Kamala Manjari, Nayana Mani Manjari. These are all these acharyas were all Manjaris. They were all personal participants on Krishna Leela, not only Krishna Leela, and within Krishna Leela in Madhurya Rasa. So when they write their commentaries, it is naturally imbued with their own rasa, which can very well get injected into the hearts of the hearers. Okay. So similarly, if you see the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, there are the Sri Vaishnava Acharyas who have written, just like we have unlimited number of commentaries of Bhagavatam, in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, there are unlimited number of commentaries of Ramayana. Every generation of Acharya has written a commentary on Ramayana. And it is very likely that these Acharyas were eternal associates assisting Lord Ramachandra in his pastimes. Okay. So when they write about Lord Rama, it is imbued with their perfected love towards Lord Ramachandra. It is imbued. So when one hears those explanations from those acharyas, it will naturally nourish their love for Lord Ramachandra, the form of Lord Ramachandra. This is true with all the sampradayas. This is not something which is exclusive in our sampradaya. It is not something which is exclusive in our sampradaya. It is true with all sampradayas. It's not that only our sampradaya acharyas are so special that they were participants of Krishna Leela. No. The other sampradaya acharyas are also very special that uh, that they are also participants. Like for example, Ramanujacharya is considered to be an incarnation of Lakshmana. When he writes about um, Ramayana, or he speaks about Ramayana, which has been compiled subsequently, it's his own uh, personal experience. It's very powerful, right? So So the point is that one needs to have, see, in order to progress further in bhakti, there are many elements which are needed, right? And if we are talking about a particular flavor of bhakti, a particular flavor of bhakti, let's say a flavor of Raja Bhakti, then what all you need? You need a mantra which promotes that bhakti. You need like-minded association which will nourish that bhakti. You need literatures and words imbued with that prema to nourish that bhakti, in the form of commentaries of acharyas who are themselves personal associates of that particular form of the Lord. Okay. You need that, you need books, you need these words, you need the mantra, you need like-minded association, and you need you need other aspects, you need the DT forms, okay, and all of that, because in every parampara, all of these are geared to push a person in a very specific direction. So, so therefore, one should understand that if one wants to um, progress, if one wants to progress in a very specific direction, then one needs to have all these things falling in place so that they get support from all the direction. They get direction, they get support from the mantra, they get support from the particular deities, they get support from the particular um, sadhana that is prescribed, they get support from the Sajatiya Sangha, the like-minded association, and they get support from the literatures which have been commented upon, and we get support from the words of the commentaries of those acharyas who are personal associates of that particular form of the Lord. When all of that comes together, one gets a very wholesome nourishment to progress in a particular direction. So we are not sectarian when we say that if you are a Lord Ramachandra Bhakta or a Narsingha Bhakta, you cannot be a part of ISKCON. We are not even telling that. But we feel bad that you may not necessarily get the kind of nourishment that you seek. That is the only problem. You may not necessarily get the nourishment that you seek. If you want to get nourishment to develop love for Lord Ramachandra, then you need the literatures which will nourish it. But you don't get it in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya because not a single Gaudiya Vaishnava commentary for Ramayana is there. You will have to seek those commentaries from the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. And you need a form of Lord Ram to worship. That is also not available within the Gaudiya Vaishnava practices. And you need Sajatiya Sangha, like-minded association, who will also regularly sit with you and discuss Ramayana. That is also not there. So, so the only problem is that it's not like we are trying to be sectarian. But the point is, every sampradaya has a unique, is geared towards giving a particular flavor of bhakti. And that flavor is nourished through all these various different elements. That flavor is nourished through all these various different elements. Now, if we wish to become an associate of a different form of the Lord other than Radha and Krishna, then it is little unlikely that one may get that requisite nourishment from this sampradaya. So in such cases, so now, in such cases, it is better that they approach an appropriate bona fide sampradaya where they will get that nourishment. But this is only for those who are extremely clear that no, My form is Lord Ramachandra only, or my form is Lord Narasimha only. It is not Radha and Krishna. I am very, very clear about it. I have tried for a few years. I am still very clear. I am attracted only to the form of Lord Ramachandra or Lord Narasimha Dev, like that. If we are very, very clear, then it would be good to actually choose an appropriate bona fide sampradaya which will nourish those sentiments. Because you need all these elements of nourishment to progress fast and to progress happily. What will happen if everyone around you is is hearing Krishna Katha, worshipping Krishna deities, chanting the mantra which will uh, enhance Krishna's love, your love for Krishna, and reading commentaries which have been written by associates of Krishna. So where will you get your nourishment from? Okay. So now the question is, oh, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu uh, did meet, uh, Anupam and Murari Gupta, and who were all worshippers of Lord Ramachandra, but they still remained as associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, but they were personalities who were already perfected personalities. They were already perfected personalities. They were perfected devotees. Murari Gupta was a perfected devotee. They had already attained their Sthai Bhava. So, for them, it is never an issue. For them, it is never an issue. Hmm? Uh, but still, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually never tried to change them. Okay, that's because they have attained Sthai Bhava. They are already perfected devotees. Murari Gupta is Hanumanji himself. So now one may say, why then in Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Bhagavat or in any of the biographical accounts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why then are these pastimes even there of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meeting Murari Gupta? What is the relevance? What is the relevance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meeting Murari Gupta or Venkata Bhatta, who chose to remain as a servant of Lord Narayana, or Anupam, who chose to remain as a worshipper of Lord Ramachandra? Why even such pastimes are there? Why can't it be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu converting people to worshippers of Krishna and everyone getting worshipped, everyone getting converted? Or his pastimes only with exclusively with worshippers of Radha and Krishna? Why not only such pastimes? These pastimes of his meeting with Murari Gupta and others could have been filtered out, one may say. No, there could be multiple reasons. There could be multiple reasons. Maybe it is just to show to other Gaudiya Vaishnavas how do you deal with those people who may have attraction for a different form of the Lord. How do you deal cordially with them? Okay. I'm not telling it is for that reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, those pastimes are there of his dealings with Murari Gupta and Venkata Bhatta and others. I'm not telling that is the reason it is there. But that could be one of the reasons. Or there could be other reasons. Uh, um, where do you apply the principle of chastity, and where do you apply the principle of, where and how do you apply the principle of broad-mindedness? Okay. What is the role and position of chastity, and what is the role and position of broad-mindedness? Okay. Maybe to show that these pastimes are there. Where, very chaste when it comes to their own practices, but quite broad-minded and appreciative when it came to the worshippers of other forms of the Lord. Okay, maybe to show that. Okay, so there could be multiple reasons. There could be multiple reasons. Okay, so So this is something that we need to understand, that these kind of episodes are there. Lord Narasimha's, uh, like recently, um, uh, there was one Kartik Chandra Prabhu, very, very well learned. He had given a Bhagavatam class in Chowpatty Temple. I was listening to that Bhagavatam class, and there was this simple, you know, Varahadev entering into the ocean to retrieve the Bhumandala from the Garbhodaka ocean. That episode was being described, a very simple verse. And I went through some of the commentaries of our Acharyas. There is not much commentary. But if you see the other sampradayas, some of the other sampradayas, very elaborate commentaries and very esoteric meanings of, you know, the words and the action and everything was described. But in our sampradaya, not much of commentaries. Okay, not very deep commentaries. Commentaries are there, but not very elaborate, esoteric commentaries. Those are actually reserved to describe Krishna Leela. Krishna moves his eyebrow. There would be a 2-page commentary explaining why Krishna moved his eyebrow. So, yeah, because it is natural, because you will write about, uh, that form for which you have. So that is why we were discussing the other day. Dashamasya Vishuddhyartam Navanam Iha Lakshanam Varnayante Mahatmanah Shrutena Artena Cha Anjasa. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, all the other 9 topics are geared to stimulate one's love for the 10th topic, which is Krishna. All the other 9 topics are presented in such a way that it can stimulate one's love for the 10th topic, which is Krishna. Now, if you see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission was exactly the same. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission was exactly in alignment with the mission of Srimad Bhagavatam. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vijayashatanayas Saddama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matamidam Tatradaro Nappara. So the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is this. This is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To establish Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajeshatane. And that is the mission of Srimad Bhagavatam also. Not any of the other Puranas written by Vyasadeva. It may be to establish the supremacy of Bhagavan, but not necessarily Krishna. Tad Dama Vrindavanam. And his abode is Vrindavan. Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita. And the greatest of the worshippers of that Krishna are the gopis. And that is the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam also. Asamaho charanarenu jushamaham syad vrindavane kimapi gulma lataushadinam. So he wants to show, even Uddhava, through various verses, glorifies the gopis' love. Even in the first canto, Bhishmadev, while offering all prayers, offers his appreciation of the gopis' love for Krishna. Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargenaya Kalpita. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. And in order to prove all these things, the Pramana is Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. But the point is that there are these other acharyas from other sampradaya. Their goal, the goal of their sampradaya is not necessarily in complete alignment with the goal of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Like, for example, you have Veera Raghava Acharya from Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, Vijayadvaja Tirtha from the Madhva Sampradaya, who has written commentaries. You have Vallabhacharya from the Vallabha Sampradaya, who has written the commentary. So these commentaries are there, very good. But if you see, their goal of life is not their goal of their mission is not exactly in complete alignment with the mission of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, Dashamasya Vishuddhyartam. Okay. Yes, so therefore they have written commentaries, but whether those commentaries are in complete alignment with the mission of Srimad Bhagavatam may not necessarily be. As much as it is in, if the gold standard is the Gaudiya Vaishnava commentary, then definitely the other commentaries of other sampradayas will not measure up to that standard in alignment with the mission of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. That ultimately, after reading the commentaries of the other acharyas to Srimad Bhagavatam, is it guaranteed that they will develop attraction only to the form of Krishna in Vrindavan? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So therefore, even though in the other sampradayas there are commentaries to Srimad Bhagavatam, it is not necessary that Bhagavatam is their topmost literature. It is not necessary that Bhagavatam is their topmost literature also. No. For the Sri Vaishnavas, it is Vishnu Puran. For the Madhvaites, it might be Mahabharat. Like that. So it is only for us that it is the topmost literature. That is why every generation of Vaishnavas have multiple commentaries of Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, every generation of Vaishnavas have multiple commentaries on Ramayana. You will see that. Because that is where their heart is. That is where their heart is. And when it comes to Puranas, for them it is Vishnu Purana. Okay. And when it comes to Upanishads, just like for us, it is Gopal Tapani Upanishad. For them, it is Mahanarayana Upanishad and those kind of Upanishads, which exclusively glorify the form of Lord Narayana. Okay. So this we have to understand. So therefore, even if you see, for us, Vyasadev's despondency, Vyasadev feeling dissatisfied after writing everything else, and Narada Muni coming and chastising him and inspiring him to write Srimad Bhagavatam, is a very landmark pastime. It's a you can say it's like a most definitive pastime, establishing the supremacy of Srimad Bhagavatam above all the other literatures. This pastime is quoted again and again and again and again and again in our parampara. It's a very defining pastime which establishes the supremacy of Srimad Bhagavatam over all the other literatures. Absolute supremacy. But this pastime may not be emphasized as much in the other sampradayas. If you see in the other sampradayas, this pastime is not that much of a landmark pastime. Well, they may say that, you need a context or a platform for appearance of everything. So the context or the platform for appearance of Bhagavatam is this. So they may not stretch this and come to the conclusion that this pastime very clearly establishes Bhagavatam as the spotless, non-negotiable, super excellent Purana or literature over all the other literatures. This shows the exclusive supremacy of Srimad Bhagavatam. No. Other sampradayas may not do that. May not do that means not that they purposefully hide it, but the importance of that pastime in this way may not be revealed to them. It may not be revealed in that way to them. They may see it as, oh, this is just a pastime establishing the context of this appearance of Bhagavatam pastime. That's all. For us, it is like, my goodness, clear proof that Bhagavatam is the topmost. It is for us, not for them. Not for them. For them, it is not established like that. So, even the emphasis of particular pastimes, how important is that? That is also revealed to different degrees to different sampradayas, depending upon their love, their flavor of love. How ultimately, whoever is coming in that parampara or getting attached to that parampara, one has to kind of, their love for Krishna has to be nourished. Their love for Krishna has to be appropriately nourished. Okay. So, Bhagavatam becomes a vehicle for that. Bhagavatam becomes a vehicle for that. So, similarly, if you see Srila Prabhupada's commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada did not come as an ambassador of Bhagavad Gita. He came as the ambassador of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if you see his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, he will translate it as Bhakti Yoga. Jnana Yoga, he will translate it as Bhakti Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga, he will give devotional purports. Okay. So now someone may say, oh, this is not a very chaste explanation of Bhagavad Gita. Now you have to understand, from one sense, when we are explaining to outsiders, we say that, look, the ultimate goal of Bhagavad Gita is bhakti. The highest teaching of Bhagavad Gita is bhakti. The essence of Bhagavad Gita is Shuddha Bhakti. So Prabhupada has understood that essence, and he is giving that essence in every verse. Okay. We may say like that to convince the outside people, but in reality, we have to understand, Srila Prabhupada's mission was not to spread the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada's mission, he used Bhagavad Gita as a vehicle. That's all. Okay. He used Bhagavad Gita as a vehicle. But for him, he came to spread the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is Aradhyo Bhagavan Vijesha Taneya Saddhama Vrindavana. Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadu Vargenaya Kalpita. Okay. So that was the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came to spread that. And for that, whatever, meaning of Bhagavad Gita was revealed to Srila Prabhupada, he presented. Okay. So it's not, so someone may say this is not a very chaste explanation of Karma Yoga. In one sense, yes, this is not a very chaste explanation of Karma Yoga, because Srila Prabhupada did not come to spread the mission of Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. He came to spread the mission of Bhakti. So if you feel it's not a very chaste explanation of Bhagavad Gita or some chapters of Bhagavad Gita, you have to understand the mission of Srila Prabhupada. We have to understand the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So the mission of Srila Prabhupada was to spread Krishna Bhakti. So whatever explanations may nourish that Krishna Bhakti in the readers of that particular literature, those explanations have been presented. So one has to, therefore, at least the devotees of that particular parampara, just like in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance also, there are the internal meanings and the external meanings. So similarly, as insiders of the Gaudiya Vaishnava parampara and insiders of ISKCON, we should know why Prabhupada did what he did. Why did he explain particular? Why did he explain particular chapters of Bhagavad Gita in the way he did? But of course, we should also know externally what we need to tell others. Okay, the internal reason will not be palatable to the ears of the outsider. So to outsider, what do you say? To insiders, how do we understand? This has to be very clear. This has to be very clear. What was the mission of Srila Prabhupada? Even though we distribute Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, the most distributed book in this whole world, maybe after the Bible. But of course, if you consider that there are multiple versions of Bible, there are multiple editions of Bible. But if you consider a particular edition of a spiritual literature, probably I'm not very sure. I don't know the statistics. Probably Bhagavad Gita, as it is that literature which is distributed the most. No, probably I'm not very sure about it. It's very likely. It must be at least in the top 2, 3 for sure. So, but if you see, did he actually come to spread the mission of Bhagavad Gita? No. He came to spread the mission of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he used Bhagavad Gita as a vehicle for that. Because it is the most known literature. It is the most well-known literature. A kind of very non-sectarian kind of literature. He used a very non-sectarian kind of literature to spread a very ultra-sectarian message. So therefore, because you have to, why did he choose a very non-sectarian literature? Because everyone has to be everyone has to be, attracted. Every single person has to be attracted. So therefore, he used it. So in doing that, some adjustments have to be done. So he did that. So at least the insider should know the heart of the mission, the heart of the acharyas as to why they did what they did. So, yeah. So anyways, we are now discussing about Prahlad Maharaj's prayers to Narasimhadev. And I thought it is important that we... So therefore, the principle is that if we are aiming for a particular goal, the nourishment to achieve that particular goal should also come in the form of literatures, and the literatures, the authors of those literatures or the commentators must have a love for the same form of the Lord, the same flavor of love towards the same deities. If it is there, then it will nourish our love for those deities also. So therefore, if we want to align with the mission of Srimad Bhagavatam, then if our mission is the mission of Srimad Bhagavatam, then the commentaries which are most appropriate to accomplish that mission are the Gaudiya Vaishnava commentaries. So the other commentaries are, you can say, like I just recently used this example, like you are going to a North Indian restaurant and ordering dosa there. It may be available, but it's not known for that. The restaurant is not known for that. You may still get a dosa, but the nuances of what a dosa really is, what a sambar really tastes like, in the deep South India, you won't get that. You won't get that in a North Indian restaurant, because generally whatever, food which is native to a different region or country, when it goes to a different region, it will definitely be transformed. Okay, it will definitely, if you actually eat original Chinese food, you know, uh, you will give up the desire to, you will give up the desire to kind of eat any Chinese food because, you know, it tastes significantly different than, the Chinese food that you know, okay, that we know, okay, in the form of noodles, Manchurian, and all that. The original Chinese version tastes, I would say, significantly different. I would not say good or better or bad, or I won't say like that because that would be very judgmental. And similarly, you take, pizza or anything of that sort. As soon as it comes to India, there is an Indianized version, and as soon as it comes to South India, there will be a South Indianized version of it. If it when it goes to North India, there will be a North Indianized version of it. Paneer pizza and all that. Okay, you know, paneer pizza, and they will put paneer in it, and they will put the South Indian spices in it, and it will take a different flavor. Okay, but if you want the original version, then you will have to go to the original place. So similarly, in our this thing, if you wish to align with the, if you wish to align um, with the goal of Srimad Bhagavatam, then it comes only through our sampradaya that one should understand very clearly. Anyways, so I'm sorry I kind of got hijacked into this theme. So then Prahlad Maharaj offers this prayer, very beautiful prayer. Swastyastu vishwasya kala prasidatam dhyayantu bhutani shivam mitodiya manascha badram bhajata dadokshaje aveshyatam no matirapya haituki. So he says, Swastyastu vishwasya. Let there be auspiciousness for the whole universe. Okay, in this context, we did discuss uh, that it is very, one has to be very genuinely advanced to offer such prayers because our prayers generally are very personalized, and our personalized prayers are okay, but the point is our prayers are always for ourselves, or very rarely, or maybe sometimes for those who are very closely connected to us. But it is very difficult to pray for the whole universe that I can let everyone get auspiciousness and I can be a part of that auspiciousness, just one of the member. It's very rare that such people, even if we offer prayers for everyone's good, but still at the back of our mind, we will think that because I have offered such a selfless prayer, Krishna must actually reward me at least little more than what he is rewarding the others. Let him reward everyone. But because I have so selflessly offered this prayer, let him reward me at least little more than the others. That desire will definitely be there. Even though we may not explicitly offer the prayer like that, but the desire will be there. But here is Prahlad Maharaj offering a very generic prayer. Swastyastu vishwasya kalaha prasidatam. But that auspiciousness will not manifest if the wicked people are always angry. They will create problems. Hmm. Dhyayantu bhutani shivam mitodiya. Okay. So now, even if the wicked people are even if the wicked people are pacified, still the ordinary people, if there is no cooperation between them, if they are fighting with each other, then also, um, then also there will be no auspiciousness. So let them all cooperate with each other and let them all meditate about cooperation with each other. Dhyayantu bhutani shivam mitodiya. And then he says, Manascha badram bhajatad. And then he says that still, if people may not fight with each other, or they may cooperate with each other, but still, if one's mind is attached to material objects, material enjoying material objects, still there is no auspiciousness. So, manascha badram bhajatad. Let the mind become free of attachment. Okay. But a mind free of attachment, material attachment in itself is cannot give ultimate auspiciousness. The ultimate auspiciousness can come only if the detached mind, materially detached mind is attached to Krishna. Manascha badram bhajatad adokshaje. Aveshyatam no matirapyahaituki. And that attachment to the form of the Lord is also not completely auspicious if that attachment is filled with material motives. Aveshyatam no matirapyahaituki. Uh, Let that be without any motivation. Like that, Prahlad Maharaj is offering this prayer. Then he says, Magara daratmaja vitta bandushu sango yadisyad bhagavat priyeshu nah ya prana vritya paritushta atmavan siddhyatya duran natatendriya priyah. He says, if we have attachment for the devotees of the Lord, then let attachment to house, wife, children, or wealth not take place. So, what it means is, let us have attachment only to the devotees of the Lord, and let there not be obstacles to that attachment to the devotees in the form of attachment to uh, uh, you know uh, let that not be obstacles in the form of attachment to house, wife, children, etc. Fully determined, he who is satisfied with living by begged food reaches perfection. One who satisfies his senses reaches perfection slowly. So this is the point. So it's not that. So begged food means we were seeing the uh, definition last time, which means yadricha labha santushto. Whatever comes of its own accord. Last session, Sham Sundaranand Prabhu asked this question about, hey, what is this? Prahlad Maharaj is encouraging others to live a life of begging, but he himself lived a very loyal life. What is this? So uh, it is like begging means whatever position the Lord puts us in. Just like a beggar is satisfied with whatever comes on his plate. So similarly, just like Dhruva Maharaj was not very happy with what when the Lord asked him to rule, but he accepted it. That is, whether you want it or not. Diviva bhuviva mamastuvaso narakeva narakantaka prakamam. Avadhirita sharadara vindau charanaute marane pichintayami. My dear Lord, whatever is your desire, you want to put me in hell, put me in hell. You want to put me in heaven, put me in heaven. Uh, you want to take me to your lotus feet, take me to your lotus feet, but let me never forget your lotus feet. Let me always meditate on your lotus feet. Okay. That is a prayer. That is the mood of a beggar. Okay. Which means I don't have any other desire. Whatever, wherever you put me, I'm willing to stay put there. That is the mood of the beggar. That is the mood of the beggar. Okay. Yat sangalabdam nijavirya vaibhavam tirtam muhus samsprishataam himanasam haratyajonta shruti kovaina seveta mukunda vikramam. Krishna entering into the heart through the ears removes the desires in the mind of those persons who constantly sip the holy water in the form of the Lord's pastimes, attained by devotees' association. So, if the association of Vaishnavas is there, then what flows? Krishna Katha flows. When Krishna Katha flows, what happens? Krishna enters into the heart through the ear holes. And then what happens? He cleanses the heart of all material desires. Pravishta Karnarandrena. Uh, what is that? Pravishta Karnarandrena. Swanam Bhava Saroruham. Dhunoti Shamalam Krishna Salilasya Yata Sharat. Okay, like that. So, therefore, he says, Kovaina Seveta Mukunda Vikramam. So therefore, who is that person who would not be interested in hearing about the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Mukunda, like that. Okay. I'm sorry, this is where we ended, and we will now open up for some questions, discussions. Tomorrow, because we had some break, so that's why I thought, uh, you know. So for now, we will open up for some questions, discussions. Somehow, Sham Sundaranand Prabhu had raised his hand still now, but as soon as I opened up for questions, he put his hand down. But still, I will give him the benefit of doubt and see if he has any questions. Yes, Sham Sundaranand Prabhu, did you raise your hand by mistake? Sham Sundaranand Prabhu, I unmuted you now. Do you have a question, or because you had raised your hands much before? Okay. Anyways, there are some questions in the chat box. Let's take them. Okay, I will go later. So he wants to go later, but by the time you come, you may not have sufficient time. Anyways, okay. Okay, there are deities of Narsingadev with Lakshmiji and Prahlad Maharaj is there in Delhi temple. Okay, I don't know. I mean, this is the general principle. Maybe there are some. In ISKCON Chennai, there is Lakshmi Narsingadev. Of course, probably that is not the main deity. How do we understand installation of deities, Lord Narasimha, Lord Ramachandra in ISKCON temples, as pre-ISKCON Gaudiyas may not have worshipped these deities? Also, it seems Yagyashalas are being mainstream. Yeah. Yeah, Prabhupada did install Narsingadev for protection. He did install it um, in Mayapur also. And in state capitals and country capitals, sometimes he installed Lord Ramachandra's deities also to attract, uh, people, because there is definitely a. mm, but those temples, if you see, they were never the primary deities. There is in Juhu, there is uh, Ram Darbar there, but Juhu temple is known as Radha Rasvihari temple. Okay. And similarly, in Los Angeles also, it is there, but it is known as um, uh, what is it? Rukmini Dwarkadish temple. And like that, if you see various different temples, you will see uh, the forms of the deities. You'll see Ram Darbar, but it's never the prime attraction. It is always a secondary thing, only to attract people. Yeah, because Lord Ramachandra is Maryada Purushottam. It is generally general people may have more attraction. Yeah, another verse from Mukundamala Stotra. Nasta dharme navasunichaye naiva kamopabhoge yadbhavyam tadbhavatu bhagavan purva karmanu rupam. Yeah, same meaning, similar meaning. No. Again from Mukundamala Stotra. When ISKCON devotees write about Ramayana or Mahabharata, can we understand that they are providing association to devotees who are naturally devotees of Lord Rama? So then it's a great service they are performing, especially when they themselves have very special taste to these forms of the Lord. Well, when ISKCON devotees write about Ramayana and Mahabharata, hopefully they are writing it for the outside population, who may be attracted to those forms. That's my hope. Because I cannot say that ideally someone should not write those literatures for supporting Ram Bhaktas within ISKCON. Okay. For supporting Ram Bhaktas within ISKCON. So it is like, there is, in our college, there used to be North Indian mess and South Indian mess. Okay. There used to be North Indian mess and South Indian mess. And every semester you have a choice to choose either North Indian mess or South Indian mess. So you cannot say that in North Indian mess, we are also giving South Indian to support those who wish to eat South Indian and North Indian mess. Why you want to taste South Indian and North Indian mess? There is a South Indian mess, go there. Right? So therefore, that does not make much sense to me. If you want to eat South Indian, why you want to support South Indians who are eating in North Indian mess when the provision is there? They can go to a South Indian mess and eat. When I was there in college, I used to keep alternating. 1 month South Indian, 1 month North Indian, like that. So therefore, ISKCON has a particular purpose. ISKCON has a particular purpose and a particular goal, which is the goal of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And to support that, whatever facilitation is needed, we can provide that facilitation. So you cannot say that, okay, they are writing those books because they want to support Ram Bhaktas within International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Okay, that makes, that's little head scratching. That is why when Prabhupada was told, why don't you make it International Society for God Consciousness, Prabhupada vehemently denied, no, not God Consciousness, Krishna Consciousness. We are very specific. Our movement is very specific. Okay. So, yeah, that's my understanding. Okay. I mean to ask why we can't give the benefit of doubt to them. Well, that's why I said, in what way I can give the benefit of doubt? Hopefully they are doing it to the outside people. So in that way, I am giving the benefit of doubt. Because if you see, there are not many, even though there are many commentaries to Ramayana from the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, hardly there is any readable good version of Ramayana in English, in the English language. And also, there are misinterpretations of Ramayana in English by other unscrupulous people. Okay. So after reading which, people are getting their hearts are becoming contaminated. So in my understanding, hopefully it is for stopping that kind of a false propaganda that is being, the proper version of Ramayana is presented in English. So yeah, so it is not necessarily for nourishing the insiders, because the insiders, if they needed nourishment in that form, our Purvacharyas would have already written. Our Purvacharyas would have already commented on those literatures, but there is no commentary. In fact, till Baldhav Vidyabhushan wrote a commentary to Bhagavad Gita, in our Sampradaya, there was no commentary to Bhagavad Gita also. Can you imagine? Jiva Goswami, the 6 Goswamis never wrote a commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Narottam Das Thakur and others never wrote a commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's was the first commentary on Bhagavad Gita, but it did not have the traditional elements of a typical Bhagavad Gita commentary, a Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita commentary, which had to have Mayavad, Khandan, and, refuting Mayavad and other such elements was not there. It was all in his commentary, Radha and Krishna will come in the verses of Bhagavad Gita only. Okay. It was not a very typical Vaishnava commentary, which was acceptable in the greater Vaishnava circle. That was written by Baldev Vidyabhushan. Because, the situation came like that. There was no Vedanta Sutra commentary. There was no 10 principal Upanishads, there was no commentary. Bhagavad Gita, there was no commentary. Only Bhagavatam commentary was there. Okay. So, yeah, that is the point. Okay. So, okay, there are more hands up. Let's take. Yes, Madhavi Gopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
No,
Prabhuji, regarding this, like the way we, as a Gaudiya Vaishnava and as a practitioner of pure devotional path, if there is some difficulty or somebody is ill, like we pray to the other form of the Lord, like Nursing Dev.
yeah.
So similarly, like I have seen before the 10th class exam started and 12th class, even in Gopal Garden, there was a Hayagriva Yajna performed for the let all the children in the school get good success like that. So whether it is required for the path devotee on the pure devotional path to worship specific form of the Lord, which is said to avoid that particular thing, or whichever form of the Lord we are worshipping, even that form will bestow the same benediction. How it is to be understood?
See, I would say whatever has been introduced in the proper parampara, we follow that. So, while worship of Narsinga has been prevalent in our sampradaya, but it was never enforced. It was never made non-negotiable or mandatory. For it's if you have this problem, you have to worship Narsingadev. No, that was not made mandatory. One can when Uttara was in trouble, she did not call for Narsingadev. Pahi Pahi Mahayogin, she called for Krishna or Krishna Krishna Mahabaho. When Arjuna was in trouble, he did not call for Narsingadev. He called for Krishna. So, so therefore, it is not a cardinal teaching of our sampradaya that if you have these kind of problems, you have to approach Narsingadev. It was never a cardinal teaching, but that provision was available that because he was an incarnation who was exclusively for who came for protecting his devotee. So therefore, that mood or that ethos is very powerfully there. So our acharyas adapted that and said, so he can be the protector of our Vraja Bhakti, like that. So, but that is not a non-negotiable thing. And regarding worship of Hayagriva, yeah, it was there in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Probably in Gopal's garden, they would have introduced it because at some point they wanted to probably seem little non-sectarian or whatever. We don't know what was the purpose, so I cannot completely comment on that. Maybe to give them the benefit of doubt, probably they did not want to sound very sectarian. So the practices of other sampradayas were also adopted. That one only that much I can think about. Maybe that could be the reason. I don't know.
Yeah, because I see many of the devotees' house altar also, Prabhuji, means lately they have installed the Hayagriva deity.
Yeah,
And they
it
worship
was
the
not.
deity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was not there as a part of our sampradaya.
okay. Okay,
We
thank you,
don't
Prabhuji.
reject. We don't reject Hayagriva. Definitely is a very worshipable form. But as a part of our traditional worship, it was not there. That's what I'm telling.
Okay, so one may worship or one may keep worshipping the same form of the Lord which we are worshipping. Right,
Yeah,
na
I mean,
Prabhuji?
yeah, even when we have problems, it's not necessarily necessary that we have to approach Narsingadev. It can be Narsingadev, it can, but the same thing we can approach Krishna also. It's not a compulsory thing.
Yeah, because the form of the Lord which we are worshipping and it is there in your one's altar, one has developed a kind of relationship with that deity.
Yeah,
And that kind of a closeness is there, which may not be there with the other form of the Lord because just they are specific or specialize in, giving benediction in particular area like that, I felt. So I
yeah.
wanted to clear once. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Correct. Yes, Sham Sundaranand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Dandavat.
Prabhu, actually, I was just wondering. So I think it's kind of answered in the course. Um, why was there pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj, or why was there pastimes of Dhruva, or those examples? And we also hear that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these pastimes every 100 times, every pastime 100 times, and still he wants
Correct.
to hear, right?
Yeah.
And second
Yeah.
thing, even in
No,
the
let's take one point at a time.
okay.
So this explanation is given by the by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in one of his commentaries, that the Ashraya Tattva, like he explains why, if the purpose of Bhagavatam is to promote Krishna Bhakti, then why at all there are pastimes of Narsingadev, Varahadev, or why there are descriptions of Paramatma, the forms of Paramatma, etc. In Bhagavatam. So he explains that Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yad jnanam advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdate. Brahman and Paramatma are aspects of Bhagavan. So which means they are, Bhagavan means he is not bereft of the Brahman feature and the Paramatma feature. So when we are talking about Purna Purushottam Bhagavan, then he has to be Purna in all his features. All his features means what? The Brahman feature, the Paramatma feature, the Bhagavan feature. And when we are talking about Bhagavan feature, the Amshi is complete along with all his Amshas also. So, because Matsya Kurma, Varaha, Narsimha, Ityadi, Avataras are his Amshas. So, therefore, description of those forms is also a part of description of Krishna, as long as that is very clear. So description of Krishna is not complete without a description of the 9 features, and also for helping the devotees to systematically develop a proper appreciation for Krishna along with all his amshas. Like for example, if you see in Brahma Samhita, I'll give a small example. Yasyaika nishvasita kala matavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanataha Vishnur Mahan sa iha yasya kala vishesho Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So, if Brahma Samhita glorifies Krishna, is a literature which is meant to glorify Krishna, why is it describing Mahavishnu? Yasyaika nishvasita kala matavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanataha. By his one breath, by his one breath, the whole, it defines the lifespan of the universal controllers, including Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. Not the lifespan, at least in that case, you take it as not lifespan, but the working span of Jagadandanataha. And who is he describing? Is he describing Krishna? He says, no, Vishnur Mahan, Mahavishnu. So now, if Brahma Samhita is meant to glorify Krishna, then why is Mahavishnu described? That is described in the third line. Vishnur Mahan, sa iha yasya kala vishesho. He is just an expansion of this person. And who is that person? Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So if you want to describe the Prime Minister, then you will have to explain, okay, he is the Prime Minister of the country. But that is not sufficient. You have to explain how big is the country, what is the country famous for, if he is the Prime Minister, what are the other portfolios which are under him, how many people are working under him, and that gives a complete understanding of what it means to be a Prime Minister. What it means to be a Prime Minister. So the point is that in order to understand or appreciate the madhurya of a person, It is first in order to perfectly appreciate. Otherwise, if you see Krishna's Madhurya pastimes are very, in one sense, like any normal child can have such pastimes, or any normal human being can have such pastimes of friendship, or you know, um, conjugal affairs and things like that. It is possible. But when one understands that he is the same person who destroyed the tyrant Hiranyakashipu, that form is just an expansion of this form. Uh, when you understand these things, or when you hear the creation pastimes, and from the bodily force of this personality, millions and billions of universes come out, and that personality is just an expansion of this personality. So it creates that a kind of proper appreciation of even the um, even those other pastimes of Krishna, the very familiar pastimes of Krishna. So everything is there in Bhagavatam to create the right kind of appetite for appreciating the 10th canto pastimes of Krishna. Dashamasya Vishuddhyartam Navanam Iha Lakshanam. So now, coming to your question of why was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit again and again hearing the pastimes of Dhruva and Prahlad Maharaj, it is to appreciate um, their their qualities of determination, uh, to appreciate their qualities of determination in terms of in the case of Dhruva, and in the case of uh, Prahlad Maharaj, the exclusive surrender to the Lord, despite being tortured by the most powerful person in the whole universe. So those aspects. But when it comes to discussing something which would nourish their own bhava, those discussions would happen late at night. It was not open for public. Late at night with Ramananda Rai Swarup Damodar Goswami in Gambira, those discussions were for nourishment of that particular flavor of love that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu possessed for his own form of the Lord. Like that. That is my understanding.
Okay, Prabhu. So in a sense, it is for Dasamasya Visuddhyartham and for that this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And second thing was that when sometimes I see the wording in which Sukadeva Goswami for that Sutta Goswami speaks in Bhagavatam.
Mm.
So in Prahlad Maharaj pastime, although he is a worshipper of Narsingadev, so it is said Krishna Graha Grahitatma. So some I heard one thing saying that he worshipping Krishna or is he worshipping Narsingadev? So how do we understand that?
Well, how do we understand that?
Yeah.
Let us ask our acharyas only how they understand. Okay. Why speculate? Okay. Krishna Graha Grihitatma. Let me go to that verse and see what the acharyas explain. Okay. Just give me 1 second. We still have about 6 minutes time. I think we can do it. Just give me, I will quickly open it. Search Krishna Graha. Okay. Krishna Graha Grihitatma. Govinda Parirambita. Okay, that is 7.438. Okay. 7.4.38. Is it that verse? Oh no, not this.
I think it would be much later during the Prahlad's pastime.
Krishna Graha Grihitatma. Okay, I got it. 7.4.37. It was one verse before. Okay. So let me share the screen and let's see what the acharyas say about it. Because when it is available, why to speculate? I will zoom it little bit. Oh, it's zoom.
I'm able to see that.
Okay. Okay. Nyasta kridanako balo jadavat tan manastaya Krishna graha grihitatma naveda jagadidrisham. Srila Prabhupada's translation. From the very beginning of his childhood, Prahlad Maharaj was uninterested in childish playings. Indeed, he gave them up altogether and remained silent and dull, being fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Since his mind was always affected by Krishna consciousness, he could not understand how the world goes on being fully absorbed in the activities of sense gratification. Okay. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti's explanation. Prahlad, as a boy, uninterested in playing, because his mind was fully captivated by Krishna, he acted as if dull. He did not understand this material world. His commentary. His natural attraction is described in 6 verses. Though a boy, he gave up childish play. He was like a dull-witted person since his mind was always concentrated on Krishna, which was not common to others. His mind was not attracted to Krishna like other devotees. Rather, his mind was completely overcome by Krishna, who was like an object of greed. Thus, he did not understand the whole world of material dealings. He understood only the world of Krishna. Okay. So this is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti's explanation. Srila Prabhupada also writes a very generic explanation only. A fully Krishna conscious person, although situated in the material world, does not see anything but Krishna. This is the sign of a Mahabhagavata. Stavara Jangama Deki, Premanjana Churita, and so on. Okay. And then later Prabhupada writes, an exalted devotee or a Mahatma who is rarely to be seen remains fully conscious of Krishna and constantly sees the Lord within the core of his heart. It is sometimes said that when one is influenced by evil stars like Saturn, Rahu, or Ketu, he cannot make advancement in any prospective activity. In just the opposite way, Prahlad Maharaj was influenced by Krishna, the supreme planet, and thus he could not think of the material world and live without Krishna consciousness. That is the sign of a Mahabhagavata. Even if one is an enemy of Krishna, a Mahabhagavata sees him to be also engaged in Krishna's service. Okay. And he gives another example. So, in the subsequent paragraph also, there is no explanation. So now, because there is no explanation, then now I will give my understanding of it, which may be wrong, but I can tell. So if you see Srila Rupa Goswami, in defining Uttama Bhakti, he says, Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam, Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Bhakti Uttama. He says, he defines Uttama Bhakti as Krishna Anushilanam. So now the question is, what if someone is worshipping Lord Ramachandra? Is he not performing Uttama Bhakti? If it is Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam, Anukulyena Rama Anushilanam, can it not be called as Uttama Bhakti? Or Narasingha Anushilanam, can it not be called as Uttama Bhakti? This question arises. The understanding is that Srila Jiva Goswami explains in the commentary. Here, Krishna means Krishna along with all his other amshas. Okay, when you say Krishna, it means Lord Rama, Lord Narasimha, because they are all in samshas. So, therefore, but rather if you say Rama Anushilanam, that does not include Krishna. Or Narasingha Anushilanam, it does not include because they themselves are not amshis, they are amshas. Well, as amshas, they may have their own amshas. Okay, but they are not the ultimate amshi. The ultimate amshi is Krishna. So when you say Krishna Anushilanam, it includes Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, Matsya, everyone. Okay. So in that sense, here the word Krishna is used in a more generic sense rather than a very specific sense. So, so here neither Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti nor Srila Prabhupada seem to say that, oh, he was actually a worshipper of Lord Krishna. It's not mentioned by both of them. Probably some other Acharya presents it like that, I don't know. But here they don't say, they take Krishna to mean his worshipable form of Bhagavan, which is Narasimhadev. So they are not taking that word Krishna to mean exclusively Krishna and trying to comment on it like that.
What if a Sri Vaishnava or another Sampradaya person reads this? How do they interpret?
How will they interpret? For that, we will have to read their commentary and see. They might say Krishna is used in a very generic way. Probably they say like that. So here Krishna is used in a very generic way. They might give some other, see, some explanations are definitely there. They will have their own explanation, which is in line with, which is bona fide and in line with their understanding. That is why Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhu Sarvashray Prati Shloke Prati Akshare Nana Artakai. You know, Bhagavatam is like Krishna, multifaceted. So Prati Shloke Prati Akshare Nana Artakai. So there are multiple bona fide explanations of each verse and each syllable of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, but, and it will appropriately nourish the worshipper of that particular form of the Lord. So that is the beauty of the Vedic literatures.
Okay, just I think if we are already time.
Time is up. Yeah.
Just for tomorrow, I think I can. So we talk about Mahavishnu, Krishna, from Krishna came Baladev. So this was, I saw that this was primarily the source of this information was Chaitanya Charitamrita, and so Bhagavatam also there are three verses in the beginning of the creation which would actually describe the three Purushas, right? So, whether those verses exclusively indicate those three Purushas or the three different aspects, it is our Acharya's interpretation of the three verses.
Yeah.
Like that. Because
We
Sri
will discuss
Vaishnavas,
this.
what is their, what is their
Yeah,
highest?
they will have their own explanation.
Yeah, that is
But our source is that verse Vishnosto Trini Rupani Purushakyani Mahatmanah Ekantu Mahatasrashtrid Dvitiyam Anda Samstitam Tritiyam Sarvabhutastam Tena Gyatva Vimuchyate. That verse is there. That is
Where
quoted
is
by
this
our
from?
Acharyas. It is from, Prabhupada quotes it in one of his Bhagavad Gita purports only. I will find that out. He quotes the reference also there. If you type in folio Vishnostu Trini Rupani, that will be there. And that verse is quoted by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita also to establish the three forms. So now, how exactly were actually are there three different forms completely? How do the other sampradayas accept? They may have a different understanding, but this is the understanding of our sampradaya Vaishnavas.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so thank you all very much for your patient listening and your enthusiastic participation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.